everybody, welcome back to Creative Chat Cafe. I am Zef.
And hello, I'm Sondra Firestein.
And we are your hosts here at Creative Chat Cafe, the business talk show hangouts for lifestyle entrepreneurs, where, we share ideas, share our experiences, and hopefully provide some tips, guidance, and inspiration that will help you achieve success. It's time to hang out, and I'll tell people, we got to hang out. You got to play a little bit, right? You don't want to just work, but play a little bit. So if you're brand new to the show, this is the description of our show. Take some time out, and we have our hashtag. If you're pretty new to the show, you're watching this for the first time, you're wondering, do they have a hashtag? Hey, this is 21st Century Show, right? We do have a hashtag. So if you're looking at your screen right now, the hashtag is Creative Chat Cafe, CCC Time to Hang Out, and the hashtag Creative Chat Cafe. And if you're tweeting on Twitter, our Twitter handle is @CChatCafe. And for this special episode, we have a special hashtag, and that is hashtag leadership. We're kind of all over, so you can find us easily.
Well, and I think that hashtag makes sense given our topic today. So in today's episode, we are covering Walk Like a Leader, Talk Like a Leader. And our guest today is Handy Luigi, a financial professional who helps business owners create, grow, and preserve their wealth. He's also a certified coach from the John Maxwell team. And join me in welcoming Handy. Hi, Handy. Welcome to the show.
Welcome, Handy. Welcome. How are you?
Great. Doing great.
Awesome. So to get us started, Andy, could you please tell us a little bit about who you are, what makes you tick, what you offer? Give us your spiel.
Well, really what makes me tick is to help business owners grow their business. That's the most important thing.
Awesome.
If you can just help business owners do that, then the doors are open for everything else. So that's the starting point for everything. You know who I am. I was born in Canada. I'm French-Canadian. I came here in the U.S. I started businesses in 2004. I started as an entrepreneur. But I also went to school. I went to Southern. I did a bachelor's in international business. So I kind of ran that financial business and the home improvement business for a couple of years simultaneously. And then I did a master's in accounting and financial management. So, what makes me tick is really to help business owners, both on the financial side, on the leadership side, with everything I have.
And it's true, right, Andy, when they say, before you can even be successful, help somebody else first, right? Be successful, right? And that's, I think, how we entrepreneurs tend to over-deliver, give, and pay it forward. It's so true. And, that's what's exciting about this, being in business, being an entrepreneur.
Absolutely, yeah. That's the only mindset to be in.
Yes, yes. So we're talking today the topic on, walk like a leader, talk like a leader, right? So I want to ask you this question about, because we met on Meetup. We were referred to each other, right, by a mutual friend, right?
Exactly.
And I found out that you were running a meetup group, meetup.com. So I'd like to ask you about your experience in leadership training, because I know you're a member of the John Maxwell leadership training team. You trained to be a coach with John Maxwell's leadership team. And maybe you can tell us a little bit about, what do you do and what types of tools or system do you utilize to connect with other leaders, entrepreneurs, and business owners? Because just looking from your experience, your story, your background, right? You're a financial person, you're a leadership coach, and you actually facilitate meetups. So it tells me that you love to meet people, you like to connect, right? So any kind of tools or system that you utilize to find these people?
Well, Meetup is pretty good at finding the people, actually. That's been a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you define your group, you post exactly what it's about, you keep people informed. Meetup does its own marketing. So
right.
Meetup is pretty, if I was going to give this number one tip, is that Meetup does the marketing for you in terms of building the group. And then I just invite other people, as I meet them. So that was number one. Mm-hmm. Number two, what I do is really, share the philosophy of John Maxwell, but also the philosophy of all the other authors that I read, throughout my years as an entrepreneur. So, I read other people like Zef Ziglar, you
mm-hmm.
name them, I've read them all. And so by listening to the audio books,
Hill, right?
Yeah, exactly. Napoleon Hill, you name it. So it was really about, I was already in there. Tony Robbins, I think, was the first CD that I played into my car. So I listened to all of them. I kind of liked that because they helped me grow personally, see to what level I need to get to. And finally, I ended up with the John Maxwell team. And when I met John Maxwell, I mean, I just knew right away that was the type of a person that I needed to be around just because of his value system. So what I do is really share the tips specifically from John Maxwell. I'm licensed to sell, well, not to sell. I'm licensed to conduct trainings based on his intellectual property.
Okay.
So
That's awesome.
I have a specific license and I'm allowed to do that.
Sondra, how about you? I mean, you're a networker yourself, and do you use Meetup.com at all for your networking group?
I absolutely do. So I host a meetup. So I have my own. It's Pursuit of Seattle. I'm probably going to change the name soon. But right now it's called Pursuit of Seattle, Exploring Happiness Together. And it's funny because I have people answer just a couple questions before they join the group. And apparently that's like kind of a nuisance to people, which I find interesting. If you're not willing to answer a couple questions, you're probably not serious about going and meeting new people.
There you go. That's so true.
I'm okay with having those questions and not being a meetup group of thousands and thousands and thousands, but maybe just a couple hundred who are really committed. I love Meetup for that purpose. I also do post my stuff on other things like Eventbrite, Brown Paper Tickets, stuff like that for a little bit more exposure. But I do, I love hosting meetups. I like finding like-minded people. It couldn't be easier in that regard.
I'm kind of glad you brought that up with the question thing. So this is also some sort of a leadership conversation, right? We're talking about walk like a leader, talk like a leader, right? Yeah. So some of the things that leaders do, I think, I mean, if you agree, Andy, is that we like to ask questions. The reason we like to ask questions is because we will know, the right thing that we want. We will get the content that we want. So if we're trying to work with somebody or build a group that has the same mindset, we ask questions, because if we don't ask, we don't know, right? So I think you did a great job at asking questions in your meetup group, because what you're really doing, you're pre-qualifying people, Sondra. You're filtering out the people that probably is not a great fit for your group, and you did a great job. Awesome.
Well, proud. I don't remember. I have 4 questions, but my whole group is all about exposing people to new interests and learning new things, and that's, one of the paths to happiness is just continuous learning and self-development. And so one of the questions that I ask people is, what do you want to learn? What is it that you want to learn? And then the other question is, what do you want to teach? What do you want to offer other people? And to me, those should be really fun questions, and they should get you kind of excited. And I'm trying to set the tone for the group and just say, this is what we're about.
No, you're doing a great job, I think, because what you really are doing, and this is what I'm doing these days also in working with clients, I ask a long list of questions, because then you get to see a better quality of people coming into your network, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, right, Andy? But I'm sure in your coaching, sessions and training sessions, when you ask the right questions, you get better quality people that fit the type of, what you call it, mindset or attitude that you're looking for. That's a great thing, actually. So you're really filtering out people.
Absolutely. I also think it's good to kind of set the stage for other people to ask questions. So if you're starting by asking questions, you're not showing, I'm just going to tell you what to do and this is how it goes, but you're showing this is a conversation-based organization.
Great.
One of the things that I can share is that, coaching is about asking questions. A good coach is a person who knows how to ask questions, ask the right questions. So, one of the things in the business industry right now is that a lot of people are teaching, a lot of people are giving information, but the ability to ask questions to help people actually become more aware of what's going on, that's the first skill of coaching.
Yeah. One of the things that I train my talents in my virtual internship program is, how, like, when we were younger, when we were kids, sometimes we're intimidated when people say, you ask too many questions, right? And then, I'm amazed that some teachers, when I was younger, they say that too. And I'm like, listen, I came here to learn. I have to ask questions, right? Because you have probably one side of your, your life where people tell you, ask questions, because then you get to move forward. And then you have these educators, some of them, I have to tell the story from my experience. I don't know if any of our viewers out there have that same experience, but I've had some educators So true. They'll be like, you're asking too many questions. And I'm looking at that, really? Hello? Dom, you're there to help guide us, right? And give us the right answer. And now, one of my previous mentors in my previous business was one of the masters of asking the right questions. And each time I think about him, it reminds me of the game Jeopardy. And I tell my talents this, right? You have the answer. You know, one of the things that we're currently doing is creating a product, and I teach them how to develop the product, because I say, if you ask you probably have the solution, the answer, but how do you ask that question to the audience so that they can think, right? So you're absolutely right, Andy. You know, coaches, leaders, visionaries, you know, we all ask questions. So
well, and I
that's
think
a great
questions are, you can tell what someone understands about the conversation by the caliber of their questions. So I've definitely had educators say, look, like, your questions right now are proving to me that you're not paying attention, and we've already covered this, and, like, really, you need to be catching up. I'm not going to hold everyone else back. But good caliber questions should keep the conversation going, and it should show that you are paying attention, because the best questions come from when you're really understanding the situation.
Right.
Absolutely.
So, Andy, as a leadership coach, in what areas are you looking to make the most impact?
Well, you know, leadership is a big word that means a lot of things. So it has to come in a practical setting.
Okay.
You know, so I'm looking to make an impact in a very practical way. I think that's the most important thing, is that, you know, people walk out of a session, out of a talk, with some practical steps that they came up with. That's the other second step, is to get people used to thinking a little bit more than when they're on their own, and accept and develop ideas that they would not develop if they were on their own. So again, just to backtrack, it's really to come back with practical steps that can help them. So, you know, when you ask questions, first things is you ask, what's your major challenge? You know, these are very typical questions. So, you know, you work with that first challenge, but then you ask questions that are deep enough for people to actually realize, you know, maybe you're putting up a fence. Maybe you're saying this is your major challenge, but you're hiding something else. So in asking questions, first things first is you the fence has to go down.
Right.
You know, people have to be honest and say, hey, if you're dealing with me, you're going to become aware of what's really going on, and we're going to solve the problems that matter. So people end up in different situations with different challenges. You got to take it case by case, and you got to be in the moment, you know, to help them, you know, find the right thing to do. It's kind of a vague answer, but yes, the areas of leadership in a simple way for me to define it is the ability to deal with people, the ability to influence people.
Yeah.
So
Delicately,
whether you're at work, whether you're at home, you're in church, you need leadership skills, because you don't want people to ignore you. You don't want people to respect you.
Right.
You know, and you want to have a voice and a say. So
that's so many things about leadership that people just have to keep on continuing to study. If you don't mind me asking you, Andy, I know you belong. You know, you trained in the John Maxwell coaching program. But other than him, is there another coach or mentor that inspires you?
Well, I focus on John Maxwell because of his perspective. I think that I focus on him right now, especially if I have to deliver a program content, something very specific, be very to the point. If I'm teaching something, I will take his teaching. But then what we do is we really go back to life experiences. So one of the first mistakes I made as a coach was to say, okay, I'm teaching John Maxwell stuff. I'm just taking knowledge and I'm spitting back out knowledge. What I learned that's very valuable is you have to take that knowledge and you have to tie it back down to a real life experience.
Right.
So regardless of who you're taking it from, it has to tie back to a real life experience for you to be able to teach and coach, you know, on it, or else it's garbage. It doesn't have no impact.
That relatability.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
Talking about coaches, right? Because every coach has his or her own style, right? And one of the big things of being a great coach who has great leadership skills is, this is so big, most of the time we hear people say this a lot, don't tell, you guide, right? You show them, right, how to do it, how to, you know, it's just about guiding. And that's why people want to coach with you. So, Sondra, let me ask you this. If there was one person that inspires you to be somebody who should be guiding instead of telling, is there a mentor or coach personality that you kind of look up to or are inspired by?
I guess I have to go with like who came to mind first. I'm sure that there are others as well if I really sat down and thought about it, but it's our dear friend Super Julie. Like she's definitely one of those people that has shown me the importance of coaching. I actually came to her once with I'm in the networking world, right? And I'm a solopreneur at the moment, and so I don't really have colleagues that I have to deal with, but periodically you deal with people in the networking world that you don't really like, and maybe they do something that's a little bit rude. Like I did have someone actually literally throw me under the bus and tell someone not to work with me, like right in front of my face. And
you want me to go beat them up?
Yeah. I
can do that too.
About this, and I was like,
don't do that to my friend Sondra, okay?
Well, it was weird because at the moment, like as it happened, I didn't really know what had happened. It was once I shared my story with a couple people, they were like, "Whoa, Sondra, that's not cool at all." I was like,
"Right,
oh, you're right." So everyone else kind of did what you did. Yeah, I'm gonna beat them up, right? Like screw them, keep them out of your life. Super Julie was awesome, and she was like, "Well, you can use it as a coaching opportunity. Do you want to be the one responsible for potentially helping this person learn from their own mistake and so that they don't do this to other people in the future?" And I thought that was it was a nice, fresh person. I opted not to be this person's coach because, well, I have that choice. And I think that that's now that I thought of that, I think that that's an excellent point to make. You are not responsible for coaching everyone. Like you have to pick the right people. Some people also aren't in a point or a place of being coachable. They're not ready to hear what it is you have to say. So you need to have that invitation to some degree to help people, I've found.
Right. That's super awesome. That's a great point. That's a great point there, and I love that you shared that. I just in complimenting what you just said, Andy, just now you said about leadership skills involve experience, right? What you just said reminded me of one of my friends on Facebook who actually was on our Credit Check Cafe show, I think, earlier this year or late last year, I can't remember. But Manolis, he's actually the CEO and founder of Reality Crowd TV here in Connecticut, and he actually uses Google Hangouts to create his shows too. But I saw him post this, and I thought, oh my God, I need to quote this on our show today because this is actually the definition of walk like a leader, talk like a leader, right? And you talk about being, we all learn our leadership skills from experience. And I'll read what he says here. He says, before a new voyage, the navigator studies his map. Part of the map is on paper, the other from the map that is only drawn from experience. May the voyage continue. Oh my God! I'm like, half is on paper and half is, from experience. And I love reading that because it reminds me, leaders thing, I mean, I don't know what it is out there that you folks out there are experiencing, but if, in different industry and backgrounds, and correct me if I'm wrong, Andy, but I feel like certain industries, they feel like, oh my God, you must be really good in paper only. It doesn't matter that you have experience, life experience or not. And the other half go like, are you serious? Like, you're just on paper, and that if you're overcome with challenges, you just don't know how to troubleshoot and handle. What's your advice for this type of people?
Well, the one thing that's missing is that people forget the point that a leader is not a title, it's not a position of authority, it's the ability to actually provide value.
All right.
So
provide value.
Exactly. So there's different ways of doing it. You could be coaching somebody where you know what they should be doing, but you're not literally telling them what to do. You're coaching them and asking questions, having that conversation with them so they can figure it out for themselves. And you can also be teaching. You could be having a seminar, or you could just be doing and people are watching you. But at the end of the day, there has to be value somewhere for you to deliver. People have to say, this was beneficial, this was useful, this is great.
So if there was one leadership tip that you can share with us that would help our folks out there, entrepreneurs, lifestyle entrepreneurs or business owners out there, make a difference in the way they lead others and how they manage their business, what would that be?
Number one, I would say you have to have a purpose, a real purpose. you want to solve a problem and you want to become the best at solving that problem or servicing that particular community. It has to be clear in your mind who are the people that you're trying to help. And once you determine who are the people that you're trying to help, you will become creative at finding everything that they need, from you, or anything that they need from that setting. So that's why you will find a lot of times people are struggling, but people are doing good. People that are doing good are doing very good because they come with all the solutions that that particular market would need. So it's all about focusing and being honest, being genuine, being genuine and saying, this is the community I want to service. I have the ability to do that, but that's not it. I want to dedicate my life to being the best at doing that. So you have to have that drive. You have to have a mission statement, and you have to take money aside, kind of work exactly, kind of build the machine like it should be built. And then, if there's a way to monetize it, that's fine. But, you don't just go into a situation and say, I can't make money, so it's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Right.
So you got to flip it around. You say, that problem needs to be solved. This is how I'm solving it. I'll get better at it and eventually find a way to monetize it. But that's never the first. As a leader, money is never the first thing to put.
It's not always about the money.
I posted a quote recently that I like. Pardon my French, actually. I'm gonna cuss here for a second, but it says, "You see a mousetrap, and I see free cheese and a fucking challenge." And it's like I love it. It's like, yeah, okay, to you, no, it's off limits to me. Bring it on, right?
Oh my
exactly.
God, it's a great conversation. So, folks, if you're watching our show for the first time, and just a quick recap, you're watching a weekly online business talk show hangouts where lifestyle entrepreneurs hang out to discuss ideas, share experiences, provide tips, guidance, and resources, and hopefully you'll be inspired. So we help you to achieve the success that you dream of. And today, our topic is walk like a leader, talk like a leader. And today, joining me with my co-host Sondra is Handy Luigi, a financial professional and a certified coach from the John Maxwell team. And a quick hashtag review here. I'm going to show my screen one more time. Hashtag CCC Time to Hang Out. Hashtag Creative Chat Cafe. And a special hashtag for this particular episode, so you can find us, is hashtag leadership, and tweet us at our Twitter handle, cchatcafe. So let's talk about Father's Day.
Yeah. So Andy, we know you're a dad, and this is your month. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So I just want to know, how do you, as a dad, how do you balance the weight of being both a father and having a career? Do you have any personal stories of triumphs that you'd like to share with us kind of around this theme of being a dad?
Well, not a story of triumph, but maybe 2 points. A person once told me, listen, you see how intense you are at doing XYZ? You need to become as intense as a husband, as a dad. So sometimes we're not balanced. We're very intense at work, or very intense at church, or very intense in one particular activity, and the other ones are falling off. But you have that same quality, you have that same, it's you. So what we have to become is, as much as we push to be good at work, as much as we push to be good in what we do, you have to have that drive to do the same for your kids. So that would be the first piece of advice that somebody gave me, is to say, you know what, that makes a lot of sense. We have to reestablish the balance, and you have to find your drive at home as well as finding your drive, with the kids. I forgot what the second one was. I totally forgot my second one.
Well, I think you answered both the questions. Just, how do you, you answered them. Yeah, personal stories. I think that is a triumph. I know you kind of led into that being like, I don't know if it is a triumph. But for a lot of people, that's not really achievable to have that. They never reach that point where they realize that it is just as important for them to be there with their family as it is for them to be there in their work. I'm not a guy, I'm not a dad, but I do know that in American society, fathers' roles are supposed to be the provider. You're supposed to be able to bring home bread and for everyone, but you also have to be there to break bread with everyone. And so kudos to you for finding that. How old are your children? Or how many do you have? Or what's the story?
That's a touchy subject. Yeah, we don't want to get on there.
Never mind, sorry.
But I can say that having kids does help you. It's a challenge.
Yeah.
But I think at the end it helps you. You know, you have to. It's another challenge that's put in there to make you better, help you
It
manage
helps you
more.
grow in a different area, right?
Right, and move out of your shell.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember one time I worked with somebody, and I'm sharing this. I worked with somebody, and when I told him, you know, I have kids and everything, he's like, "Oh, you used to be so selfish." You know, I'm wondering how that's gonna. But basically, you know, he knew me kind of, you know, coming out of college.
Yeah.
You know, and he said, you know, that should be good for you
Funny.
because it causes you to move out of your shell, and all of a sudden it's not
Out
about
of the
you
comfort
anymore. You have to
zone.
provide for others.
Right?
Yeah,
So,
that's
hey.
so awesome. So, Andy, you know, we're talking about all this Father's Day coming up, leadership. So, what one leadership trait that you think that was inspired by your dad?
Well, by my father, leadership trait definitely is sense of humor.
Mm.
That
Awesome.
sense of humor, because what happens to, for example, what happens to managers? For example, you have a person who is in a position and then moves into a position of management. They have to develop leadership skills, but they're always
Yeah.
using authority. They're always uptight,
Yeah.
and they break the connection.
Right.
Yeah, they break the connection. Nobody wants to deal with them. They don't care about your title. So having a sense of humor, I think, is a way for you to keep your kids listening, keep, you know, everybody listening. Whenever you're in a room, everybody's like, okay, he's relaxed, he's comfortable with himself, and he's aware of what's going on. So you can't force it. But I think that's what I learned from my dad. He had a great sense of humor, you know, and you know, it allows you to stay connected with that person. See that you have a real person in front of you. And then when he came with the authority part of it, I mean, he was just lethal, very strict. But it wasn't overbearing, or he wasn't overusing his authority, never.
Wow.
You
Well,
know,
and you
so
knew when he was being strict that he meant business. And
Yeah.
so, okay,
Right.
time to listen. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
What about you, Sondra? What's one leadership trait that you think was inspired by your dad?
So, my dad is a really great listener. And that, you know, to me, that is one of the greatest aspects of being a leader. And I think it's also really important to not only apply that to other people. I do think that one of the best ways to be a leader is to lead by example. Walk like a leader, talk like a leader.
Exactly.
So, you know, my dad, I mentioned in a previous episode that my dad is very academic. I am not as academic. School is not my strength. I love learning, but buckling down and working my tail off over homework and studying for tests is like just not fun for me. And whenever I would get grades back that were maybe not amazing, he would look at me and just ask me if I believed that I did my best at that. He didn't tell me that I didn't do my best. He didn't tell me I could do better. He just wanted me to be honest with myself and ask myself the question, did I really put in my best effort to do the best that I absolutely could? Did I do everything within my power to do my best on this assignment or test or whatever? And so it's not only learning to listen to other people, but to listen to yourself and figure out where your strengths and where your weaknesses are, so that when you do become a leader in the workforce or within your family or within your community, you can pay attention to where you need help filling those gaps and to make it easier for other people to fill that for you.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Folks, I know we're close to our time here, but I just want to share my own personal experience, and we can wrap up. One thing that leadership trait that I learned from my dad, and I think this is very, very big, and I think it is who I am today, is the word humility. He says, because he was a general manager, and he was in some corporate positions, and because he was raised in a village, right? So he had all those non-urban upbringing, so he understands humility. So he always says to me, however successful you are, if you're in a suit, if you're in a nice chair, big oak table, whatever, right? Always make sure that you know how to get off that chair and be relatable to other people, because it's all not nice, dandy flowers, bed of roses all the time. He says sometimes you need to, to be modest, to be humble, however successful you are, because he says God can give you and God can take it away from you. So I'm like, oh, yeah, that's big, and I'm like, okay, Dom, that stayed in my head forever, because it's true, right? Because I see a lot of people out there who are very successful. They call themselves leaders, but they don't really guide, right? They don't provide value, but they're always like, hello, you know who I am?
Andy, fire away. What's the best way for us to get in touch with you?
Well, call me. Send me a message on Hangout.
There you go. We have your website, your LinkedIn profile right on the screen right now, so people can still connect with you. It's on your LinkedIn, right?
Exactly. And all my social media, Twitter is Handy Luigi, Facebook is Handy Luigi. Everything is Handy Luigi. You won't, you can't make a mistake, and then you'll see my picture.
Right.
So,
that's such a unique name.
I know.
There can't be another one of you out there. It's just all three of us actually.
I'll have to create one.
The only one with our names. I don't think there's another Zef. I know there's not another Sondra Firestein. So I think
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Well, how about you, Sondra? Go ahead.
Yeah. So I'm the owner of PursuitOfSeattle.com. It's a solution for busy professionals who are committed to living a balanced lifestyle. I take care of nitty-gritty aspects of life or connect you to things that you would love to be connected to. I'm your resource to living a balanced lifestyle. So if you're interested in that, feel free to visit PursuitOfSeattle.com. If you have any questions for me specifically, I'm on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, the works. You can find me at Seattle Sondra. And lastly, if you're interested in just joining a community of people committed to living a happier, balanced lifestyle, throw on the hashtag Happy Seekers. Look it up, tag your own photos with it. Zef does it, I do it. I've got all sorts of people going for it now. Yeah, I mean, really, I just want to build communities of people that are so clearly loving life that we all just get infected by this joyous energy. I don't know. Say hi to me.
Awesome, awesome. So, folks, if you're watching this for the first time, or you're a regular on our show, this is our information. You can watch our shows every Wednesdays, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time at entrepreneurs@soar.com, or you can go to our Google Plus event page. This is going to be our second last episode for June for the season. We're coming back full force in fall, so stay tuned for a better Creative Chat Cafe. So again, the information is entrepreneurs@soar.com, and if you're a social person, you can find us on Facebook. Welcome back! Facebook Creative Chat Cafe, and then we're also on the. We also have a Google Plus community, Creative Chat Cafe, and on Twitter, our Twitter handle is @CChatCafe. If you're a tuber and enjoy watching more videos, go to our YouTube channel, Entrepreneurs at Soar, because Entrepreneurs at Soar produces the show, and we have multiple playlists for Creative Chat Cafe. And hashtag again, hashtag CCC Time to Hang Out, hashtag Creative Chat Cafe. As you can see, our Twitter handle is @CChatCafe. Well, everybody, thank you so much for watching this show. Andy, thank you for joining us today. I know you were at work and you're taking off some time off your busy, life and work to be here with us today. So thank you so much.
Oh, it's my pleasure. My pleasure.
Thank you. Awesome. Great topic. We can go on and on about this leadership topic. It's just like on and on. Sondra, thank you for being such an awesome sidekick. Woohoo! As usual. Yeah, there you go.
It's a big.
So go ahead, Eddie. What did you say?
No. I just started something and I mumbled it. I stopped. I said it's a big kick.
It's okay. We're all
more than a sidekick. It's a big kick.
Folks, thank you so much for joining us. Let's raise our mugs. We'll see you in the next episode of Creative Chat Cafe. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.